You know, we use apps and websites all day, every day. But have you ever really stopped to think about what makes it all work? Who's in the background making sure your data is there, that it's fast, and that it's secure? Well, today we're going to meet that person, the database administrator, or DBA. They're the invisible guardian of our entire digital world.
Think about it. Your banking app, your favorite streaming service, even the software you use at work. They all rely on this incredibly complex system running flawlessly behind the scenes. And the answer to what keeps it all going? It's almost always the quiet, careful, and proactive work of a really good DBA.
So that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We're pulling back the curtain. We're going to walk you through the actual daily checklist a DBA uses to manage the critical SQL servers that are, let's be honest, the backbone of most companies. You're about to see the constant vigilance that stops digital chaos before it even gets a chance to start. All right, so picture this. A DBA gets to their desk, coffee in hand. What's the very first thing they do? They start with a fundamental health check. It's all about taking the database's pulse to make sure everything is okay before the day really kicks off.
This really boils down to 3 crucial steps. First, are the SQL services even running? I know, it sounds basic, but a small hiccup here can send massive ripples through the whole system. Next, they dive deep into the error logs for both SQL and for Windows. The real art here isn't just seeing a big red error message. It's about spotting anything that looks even a little bit different from normal. And finally, are all the databases actually online? Because if a core database is offline, the business is, for all intents and purposes, closed. And this is where the real detective work comes in. One DBA told a great story about seeing these small yellow warnings popping up in the Windows logs. They weren't critical errors, just warnings. But instead of ignoring them, he dug in. And what did he find? A disk controller that was slowly dying. By catching that, he prevented a total catastrophic crash. It just goes to show, sometimes the quietest little warnings are the most important clues you'll ever get.
Okay, so the system is alive, it's breathing. Now what? Well, the whole game shifts. It's no longer about checking its pulse, it's about actively stopping problems from ever happening. This is where the DBA becomes part traffic controller, part digital security guard.
And one of their best tools for this is something called wait stats. See, instead of just looking at a number like CPU usage, wait stats let the DBA literally ask the server, hey, what are you waiting for right now? What's slowing you down? And the server answers. It tells them if the real problem is a slow disk, a lack of memory, or maybe some other process that's locking up a resource. It's how they find the true bottleneck.
And this gets to a huge myth that a lot of people believe. If an app is slow, the common wisdom is, oh, just throw more CPU at it, add more power. But a DBA knows that's like putting a bigger engine in a car that has flat tires. High CPU is often just a symptom. The real problem could be bad code or a slow disk. Their job is to find that root cause, not just mask the symptom.
So this proactive hunt continues all day. They're constantly on the lookout for long-running queries that are just hogging all the resources and slowing everybody else down. They also have to untangle what are called blocking chains. It's like a digital traffic jam, where one single stalled process creates a huge pileup behind it. And maybe, most critically, they're making sure all the automated maintenance jobs are actually running correctly. And if you think one of those little automated jobs failing is no big deal, think again. There was one case where a job that rebuilds indexes, which keeps data searches fast, failed for just a couple of nights in a row. The result? Performance on a critical reporting database plummeted by 50%. A tiny, unseen failure caused a massive, very visible problem. Now, keeping things fast is one huge part of the job. But then there's security, and that is a whole other ballgame. It is absolutely not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It demands constant, daily vigilance. It's a never-ending digital patrol. So what are they looking for on this daily security patrol? Well, stuff like repeated failed logins. Could that be a hacker trying to brute force a password? They're checking for any changes to permissions that weren't authorized. Is it an insider threat? A compromised account? And they're even checking to make sure important service account passwords haven't expired, which could suddenly just cut off a critical app from its data. But look, no matter how proactive you are, sometimes things just go wrong, horribly wrong. And that is where the ultimate safety net comes in. Backups, recovery, and preparing for disaster. This is the part of the job that makes sure the business can actually survive a catastrophe. And let me be absolutely crystal clear on this one. This is the golden rule. A backup that you can't restore is completely 100% useless. The goal isn't just making a copy.
The goal is knowing for a fact that you can bring that data back to life when everything is on fire.
So for the really mission-critical systems, this usually means 2 layers of protection. You've got high availability, which is all about instant failover. For that, the DBA has to make sure the replica databases are perfectly in sync, down to the second. Then you've got disaster recovery, which is for when the whole building goes dark. For that, they're monitoring to make sure that backup site isn't falling hours and hours behind the live one.
But here's the biggest pitfall, the place where so many companies get this wrong. They don't test it. They just see a green light on a dashboard and assume it'll work. But not testing your failover is exactly like packing a parachute and just hoping it opens when you need it. You have to test it. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
So we've talked about all this super technical stuff, right? But what if I told you that the most important skill a DBA has isn't technical at all? It's about being the human in the machine. It's about being a translator.
Imagine a DBA walking into a meeting with the head of sales and saying, well, the wait stats on page IO latch X are high because of buffer pool contention. It might be 100% accurate, but to anyone outside of IT, it's just meaningless jargon. It's technobabble.
But a great DBA? They provide the translation. They bridge that gap. They say, the reason sales are down is because the sales app is slow, and customers are getting so frustrated they're just abandoning their shopping carts. Now that gets everyone's attention. That ability to connect a technical problem to a real business impact, that's what makes a DBA priceless.
So when you boil it all down, the DBA's real mission is so much more than just fixing things when they break. It is all about proactive diligence. It's that constant, unseen, careful work that keeps the whole digital world running smoothly. A silent symphony that just works.
And that's what I want to leave you with. The next time you open your banking app, or fire up a movie, or do pretty much anything online, just take a second to think about that immense, unseen effort going on in the background. What silent symphony, conducted by these digital guardians, is keeping your world moving?